Hey, good morning. I thought it'd be a lot of fun to actually go into the workshop and show you some of the instruments that I still have kind of left behind that never really sold, never really made it out of the shop, and some of the stuff that I worked on and never really finished. So if you remember this was actually a while ago. I think it was even before the TV was installed inside the headboard, I guess the backboard of what I shoot on. So this is actually a really fun instrument. Had some pretty heavy glitches on it. It was a lot of fun. And I was actually thinking on making another video of that and a duet here pretty soon with none other would be the piano. So it was kind of funny, while I had the one with the blue eyes, the blue LED eyes I should say, in shop, I was planning on doing this one and actually making a duet of the two, but that one ended up selling a couple days after I got this one, so I never actually got a chance to work on it or add a duet to it. But I am planning on getting this pretty soon because this is probably one of my favorite instruments to actually work on in Circuit Bend, because there's a whole amount of space in here. There's a lot. Like everything you see here is pretty much space. The circuit board, if I remember correctly, is just right here. It's very, very small. So it is a lot of fun as far as instruments go. Probably remember this guy as well. And then we have Pinocchio still. Speaking of creepy dolls, a lot of the fuzzy friends I actually still have here. So there's this one. You probably remember him. He's kind of nightmare fuel. Then Ted. Still have Ted. I don't actually believe I ever put him up for sale. But if you are interested in getting any of these, then, let me know. And so there you go. We're still on creepy dolls. If you're unfamiliar with the fuzzy friends, then what it was essentially a whole bunch of different fuzzy animals that I circuit bent. This being one of them. And then that was a collaboration project. This thing's absolutely crazy, and I actually need to make some more videos with this because it is absolutely crazy. But this was actually a collaboration project with a very talented artist, Psychotic Studios. So this thing ended up absolutely gorgeous. It has LEDs all over it. It's very, very pretty. Which I'm going to go ahead and put some batteries in this guy so you can see him lit up.
A few moments later.
Alright, so batteries in it. So this thing is absolutely gorgeous. It took a lot of work to put this together, but I probably did the top of this, I would say a good 3 separate times before it was actually working correctly. What that does, if I can get it, that is all the button functions. So it has button functions and glitches on it. So these are going to be the main ones. And it's probably really hard to hear. That was the only downside to this, was it's pretty hard to hear if it's not plugged up. The speaker isn't really that powerful in this thing. Ninja Turtle sword. Probably remember that. Then I have a Sesame Street still in here. Then a wing to this guy. He broke. I'm going to have to repair that here pretty soon. With the cheese as well. And this is pretty cool. So if you bought the GhostFire Electronics Fuzzy Friends t-shirt, this was actually what that's based off of. So this is really, I changed it a bit, but this is called a Bigsby. I don't know if anybody's familiar with this, but this is what it was actually based off of. So they were based off of Bigsby, and I changed it up a bit. But this was originally the instrument I was going to lead out with. Instead, it ended up the polar bear, but I was originally going to lead out with this instrument as the first thing. But unfortunately, what I got in here, you see I still have some wires hanging out and I never actually finished him. He didn't have a lot of glitches. So there are a couple different glitches on this, but it wasn't anything that was big enough, in my opinion, to actually launch the season with. So that's why I ended up going with a different instrument. And I eventually wanted to post him somewhere in there, but, you know, time came and went, and he didn't end up on there. But I'm definitely going to have a video up of him. I'm not going to make any time commitments, but eventually I'll have a video up of him, because he does have glitches, and it is something that I can post. So definitely worth posting a video at least. Then, probably saw about 2 weeks ago, still got this guy. Very small, very cool. Then we have these guys. So this was another fuzzy friend. That was an angry bird. Is an angry bird. Still an angry bird. Just has a bottle cap on top of his head. So very, very cool in my opinion. Keep putting my finger over the camera. Sorry about that. Then the helicopter. And I want to show you this. So this is actually, this was during our Christmas special. I actually still have this guy in shop. I don't even believe I've ever posted him. I just kind of set him in here, and he's been in here since. So we have that. Then I have this. So this is really cool. I actually have two versions of this book. This one I opened up and I actually started bending into it. And I vaguely remember this. It's actually, it doesn't have any speed controls, and it wasn't really that bendable. It's close to a speak and spell, I would say, as far as the glitches that it does, but nowhere near the volume of glitches available inside of it. I mean, it took me a very long time to find these two, and they were just button glitches. So I ended up closing this up, and I really had just never opened it up. But if you look these up, these go for about 35 bucks on eBay. So it is kind of a rare instrument, and definitely something to worth bending, because I couldn't really find any of them bent. And, you know, where there's none bent, definitely bend them. So eventually I will have this up. It's just kind of when I feel like getting back into it. But as of now, it's in my room. So there you have it. There is quite a few different instruments that are bent that are still here. And if you do want any of these instruments, definitely just contact me. Let me know. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this and enjoy the bending.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and take the back bolts out of this guy. So right here are the bolts right in the back of his head, so we're going to go ahead and take the bolts out. So we ran into a little bit of, what did it say, an issue, but it's snag up. So if you see, the hat is actually connected somehow, which I don't see any bolts actually connecting the hat on. So I'm going to go ahead and try to pry this up and then see what happens.
Move away from the cookie jar! Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!
And he just wants me to move away from the cookie jar. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is take off this side right here so we can go ahead and disconnect the head completely.
2 hours later.
Alright, so that's off, but even this isn't easy to mess with because, as you can see, this is not actually a screw. This is just a rod that's connected on the inside through plastic. And obviously we're not going to get inside of there because we would actually have to break it. So not good. I'm just going to go ahead and look at this for a minute and see if there's anything else I could do here. The good news is, as you see, I was able to get it open. I literally had to grab onto the bottom and just pry it open out of frustration. I worked on that for quite some time, but as you can see, they had these just built in there, so it looks like the cap was actually put on. Guessing pressurized on? But it was definitely on there, and ended up breaking it off. It looks like we are good to go now because the circuit board's right here. This is going to be somewhat easy access, as you've seen, or as you can see right here. This is actually hot glued on. So this is just one of those toys that is going to be a little complicated because of the way they actually made it. But yeah, this is hot glued on, so I'm going to get the hot glue gun and heat this up. Just like before, we're going to go ahead and try to find the spot that reacts to us touching
Stop!
it.
Move away from the cookie jar.
This may actually be easier from the other side here.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar.
And there it is.
Stop!
You heard.
Move away from the cookie jar. Stop! Move away from the cookie jar.
So this is our resistor right here.
Stop!
See, it's
Move
tucked
away
behind
from
these
the cookie
wires.
jar.
Oh,
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar.
actually, this is very easy access soldering. So it's this point right here, this point right here. So that's what we're going to solder onto. So the tempo tone control wires are on.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar. Stop! Move away from the cookie. Stop! Move away from the. Stop!
Whereas this
Move
one's
away
actually
from the cookie jar. Stop! Move away from the cookie jar. Stop! Move away from the cookie jar.
So if you remember, we're most always going to be using the ground as a down tempo, so to speak. So
Stop!
I soldered that
Move
directly
away
on
from
the
the.
ground, and that's going to give us these low tones. The next thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go ahead and
Stop!
solder a
Move away
button onto
from the
here
cookie
because
jar.
this is rather
Stop! Move
annoying
away
to
from
just
the
have to
cookie
keep doing
jar.
this. I'm going to get a button to
Stop!
give it easier
Move
access.
away from.
So this is going to be pretty simple.
Stop!
So you see,
Move
this is
away
the
from the
lever
cookie jar.
that's
Stop!
actually causing it to
Move away
pop. So
from the
what we're
cookie
going to do is
jar.
we're just going to look at this. See that these wires run up here? We're going to have two options. We can either solder directly onto the switch, or we can solder onto these. I'm going to go ahead and solder onto this because the switches can go bad and I don't have anything that's going to actually fit that. So I'm going to go ahead and solder onto the circuit board just to play it safe. let's go ahead and add the tempo tone control to this. So if I remember correctly, it's the orange one that's affected by it, but we're just going to double check.
Away from the cookie jar.
Okay.
Stop. Move away from the cookie jar.
Yep. So we're going to go ahead and tag onto the orange one with the toggle switch. Then these two are going to get fed onto the potentiometer. Now we're going to go ahead and test it out, and if it works, we are going to hot glue it.
Stop. Move away. Rubbing dry. Stop. Move away from the cookie jar.
Sounds good. Alright, so let's go ahead and hot glue this. Alright. I'm going to hot glue the switch as well. Just like the other instrument, we're going to go ahead and find the speaker wires, which are going to be right here.
Stop.
You see the speaker
Move
is
away
tucked up
from
in
the
there.
cookie jar.
So we're looking for gray wires on top here. Now if you look, you can see this gray wire pretty noticeably, but the other one is kind of hidden. So what it is this is fed through here, but then it is actually hidden right here. So it's soldered right on to this. So it's going to be a little bit different soldering, but shouldn't be a problem because it is a very big soldering point. And I am going to go ahead and run it this way so the wire is actually sitting across it. It's going to give us a better success rate to solder onto this. Alright, so if you see, that was kind of difficult, but now it is on there. Then this next one's going to be quite a bit easier. Let's hope. Alright, and that should be good. Give it a second. Alright, there we go. So both of them are on. Now we're going to go ahead and plug the Pro Sound in, plug it into an amp, and see which one makes sound.
Stop. Move away from the cookie jar.
I'm going to show you some stuff a little more in depth with the LEDs.
Stop.
So this has a really good reaction to LEDs. So even when it's off, it's still turning this red. This is a color changing, slow fading LED.
Stop. Move away
So
from the
it
cookie
kicks back
jar.
red.
Stop. Move away from the cookie jar.
And when you leave it on its own, it's going to change colors. Now we actually have a separate, different reaction if we plug a fast changing LED in, so you can hear that, it's sending a sound through. So we do want to make this optional, but since we can't support both of them, we are going to put both of them on there. And the slow fading, I'm actually going to try to mount inside of the eyes, which, as you can see, is going to be a bit difficult because
Stop! Move away from
we
the
still
cookie
need them
jar.
to blink, but we're going to put the LEDs inside there. What I'm doing here is I'm twisting this wire together, and we actually have 3 leads on each of these. So how we're going to run this other LED that's going to be optional, or more correctly the 3 LEDs that are going to be optional, is we're going to run this directly into a toggle switch so we can optionally cut off the power supply anytime we need to, just like the tempo tone control. So we're going to feed this through, and then we're going to hook it up. Then this wire is going to come out here and go directly into the LEDs. thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to rate and subscribe. I really appreciate all the support. And I also want to give a shout out to Igor Amokian for actually sending me this. I got done with this and I realized that I had actually forgotten to add a power on-off switch to this. So what I'm thinking is maybe in a separate video we can go through and we can add some stuff to it. Hopefully you guys get to see, you know, assembling and adding stuff to instruments that you've already done. And we'll go through and we'll repair some stuff too. But I really hope you like this video, and I appreciate all the support. Please tell me what you guys think of it, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day.